It's Friday, December 8th at 1:25 in the afternoon. It's -1 degree and cloudy with a little breeze picking up, and we're down on the K&P Trail south of Petworth Road. We just thought we'd walk this stretch again today. We haven't been here for a while since the snows have arrived. There's a little bit more snow down here now than there was a couple days ago where there was hardly any snow. So South Frontenac Township Council is apparently making the decision coming up shortly in a week or so as to whether ATVs will be allowed to go on this section from Verona down to Harrowsmith. As I mentioned in my previous video about the subject, the public meeting they put on in July, the vast majority of people there were against having ATVs on this trail. Yeah, so I hope the council makes the decision not to allow ATVs over this stretch. I think it just makes so much sense to have a nice stretch like this in between the villages of Harrowsmith, Hardington, and Verona, where people can go out and walk or run or bike on the trail without having to deal with running into motorized vehicles. The motorized vehicles have full and free access of the whole trail north of Verona, and that goes right up to Clarendon Station north of Highway 7, so a big stretch there. They can also go along the Trans-Canada Trail east and west as far as they want. There's plenty of area for them to use on the trail. And I think for this little populated area here, it's nice to have a section where it's free to walk without having to constantly get off the trail for passing ATVs. And a lot of people walk their children up here, and babies in carriages and all that kind of thing. So there's also the aspect that there's nowhere for ATVs to go coming from Verona down to Harrowsmith. They're not supposed to be on the Cataraqui Trail where this trail joins into. So the only place they could go is down here to Graham Road and get off on there and go up to the Centennial Park at Harrowsmith. But ideally, you wouldn't want a lot of ATVers going in there either, because there's a lot of events going on there all the time throughout the summer especially, and if you had a lot of ATVers cruising in through there, it could pose traffic problems and potential traffic risks and things like that. So to me, that's far better to keep this stretch non-motorized use only, then that avoids all those problems. We're just approaching the intersection of the K&P Trail with the Cataraqui Trail here. Off to the left, the Cataraqui Trail goes over to Harrowsmith. So there are no ATVs allowed on the Cataraqui Trail here. So to have ATVs coming down the K&P Trail to this location really makes no sense. And even if they went out that way, it just leads to Highway 38. And they can't go beyond there for sure on the Cataraqui Trail. There's really no purpose for ATVs to be down here. if this section was left non-motorized, it could be used for a number of other recreational purposes that could advance tourism in the area. You could also have horse-drawn carriage rides along sections of the trail here, which would be nice during special events, especially if they're occurring out of Harrowsmith Park or Hardington area somewhere, Verona, wherever. I would think something like that could be quite popular with young families, especially perhaps taking their kids out and letting them have rides in horse-drawn wagons up and down the trail here. Another utilization of this section of the trail that is very valuable for a lot of local people, and I know a lot of people take part in it, is simply walking along here and enjoying the nature. Whether you're actively bird watching or simply walking and enjoying the local surroundings or out doing nature photography, a lot of people do those things, and when you have a section of trail like this, it becomes very valuable because you can do it in relative peace without having constant annoyance of motorized vehicles coming by you and having to get off the trail and dust flying, because sometimes you'll get long trains of ATVs traveling together, and as we know, our summers are getting drier and dustier all the time. So when you're in those situations and you have lots of people coming by you, you often get lots of dust flying up, and it just makes the whole experience less interesting. They also scare a lot of the wildlife off with the noise and dust, so it just makes enjoying the nature a lot more difficult. So it's 3 o'clock and we're about half a kilometer away from the end of our walk here. The snow is getting a little softer. I can actually pack it into a snowball now, but it's still quite cold on the hands. I don't think it's much above zero, maybe 1 degree at the most. I don't think it's much higher than that yet. So I'm hoping when I get home I may walk around the property and take some more video, since the one I put up today about the ice and snowstorm, that was before we had some of the additional snow that we now have. So it actually looks even prettier now than when I took that video. So I might walk around and get some video of the place with the snow mantle that's on there now, because by tomorrow it's going to be gone at 8 degrees.